shag. So today you get to meet a new Samvy ambassador, and she is also a Redken artist. She's been on all sides of the industry for over 13 years now. She's very passionate about the connection that exists when stylists bond with education, and she is a specialist in haircutting, finishing, bridal, and editorial. She's got a great energy to her, so please, in the chats, welcome Jamie McDaniel.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here. It's been a heck of a morning, and I'm so excited to get started. So, like Andrew said, this is going to be Transformation Tuesdays, and as you all have probably noticed, layering is definitely making a huge comeback. However, sometimes what happens is we don't have those clients that are ready to make that jump just yet, right? Sometimes we have those clients that just need a little bit of a baby walk into it. So that's what we're going to do today is we're going to provide, well, I should say I will be providing a layering technique that will give us that nice, beautiful, long, soft silhouette within our layering to really introduce our guests that have been wearing longer hair and more blunt into layering and how it can be a little bit more fun and versatile for their styling. So let's get to it. So I have my mannequin here. And the first thing that we want to do is I want to set myself up for success. So I want to go ahead and create my roadmap, if you will. Just like whenever we're going somewhere, we have a starting point and then we also have an ending point. So when we get to our GPS, we put where we want to go, and our GPS will always tell us where we need to turn and where we're going to get to our end point. So whenever we are sectioning, that's exactly what I look at it as. It's going to provide me with a roadmap so I don't get lost along the way. And kind of like what Janet Jackson says in her song Control, it'll give us a little bit of control over our haircut as well. Because what I've found in the past is when creating haircuts, if I don't have control over what I'm doing, I tend to get lost and I want to give up, and then I just want to take my texture shears to the whole haircut and hope it blends. If you've been there with me, go ahead and let me know that's me in the chat box, because you're not alone. So let's get to it. So I'm just going to have my guests looking straight ahead. And I really want to start to find where that head naturally changes directions. So I have my long hair combed in what we like to call natural falling position. And the first thing I'm going to do is I need to find where the head splits from the front to the back. So I'm just going to place my comb right on top. I'm going to do a white comb as well. There we go. And really where that comb teeter-totters at the top of the head, that's what we call the highest point of the head. And that's the true transition from the front to the back of the head. And so I'll just draw a nice straight line down to my fingertip and part it away. Now I'm a little crooked, and so what you'll be doing whenever you do this is you'll be in front of your guest. So allow me to turn my guest around and straighten this line for us. So as you can see, I'll also be working with a center part. This technique you can absolutely do with a side part as well. But for today's purposes, I really just wanted to keep it nice and symmetrical and go with a center part. From here, I'm just going to place my combs, or excuse me, my Samvia dry cutting clips. And now you can see I have a nice crisp vertical line that goes from the highest point of the head to the top of the ear. On the other side, I already have it mapped out for us. And this is what we're going to be creating for the rest of it. So here's the front from the back. And now I just need to find what we call the corners of the head. All right. So how I like to do this is while I'm working on the front, actually, let me get a clip back here so I can have control and keep this hair out of my way, since I know that that lives in the back of the head. So now I can go ahead and remove this clip, and still, again, working with natural fall. So making sure that that hair is really combed down into where it naturally lives. Now I'm just going to simply take my hands. I'm a handsy person, so I like to feel, and I'm going to use the pads of my knuckles That's going to go at the center front, right on the forehead, and then at the top of the ear. So right where I divided front from back, the pads of my knuckles are going to go right there. If you don't want to touch, you can absolutely use your combs. So with the spine of my combs, that way I'm not picking up any hair. I'm just going to utilize the spine of these combs. I'm going to go right at the top of the ear and then at the center front. Where these combs meet is what we call a corner. So it's kind of, if you were to look at it from above, it looks like a square. So where they meet, I'm just going to roll my combs in and know that that is a change in direction. Now, if you're similar to me and you do like to use your fingers, we're just going to go pads of the knuckles again. Where my fingers meet, I'm going to roll them in and create a little bit of a marking. Take my body back in front of the section so I can make that nice, beautiful vertical line. Once I'm here, I don't want to lose it, so I need to put a clip on it to keep it nice and secure. And so with my Zambia dry cutting combs, because we will be doing a dry haircut, I'm just going to go in and put it nice and taut in there. For this side here, do the same thing. I like to keep my hair nice and smooth. That way I'm not creating any unwanted curl at the end of it, and I can work smarter and faster, or I should say quicker, through this haircut. Because we do know in the salon, time is of the essence, and we want to do a good job, but let's set ourselves up for success and not create any unwanted waves in the hair. All right. So now that we're in the back, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make sure that that hair is combed in its natural fall. And now my body stands on the opposite side again. And with my combs or your fingers, whichever you like, and now I'm going to put the spine of the comb at center back and the top of the ear. And again, where those corners meet is a change in direction of the head. So I'm just going to mark that spot. For my principle-based design friends in the chat, if you will, what am I creating right now? If you want to take a little bit of a risk and take a guess, we do call this a little bit of a roadmap, yes. But we like to call it, this is what we call vertical breakdown. And what you see here is in each area is a change in direction of the head. So I know that this hair truly lives right behind the ear. And then as I move around, I don't know where my turny thing is. Oh, there it is. As I move around, there's another change in direction of the head. And so this is really just going to keep me nice and solid to make sure I don't get any unwanted length and weight in any direction that I don't want it to go. All right. So what we also call these they're just bevels of the head. So as I'm combing these down, I really want to make sure that my clips are going vertically up so gravity takes over and they stay in. If I were to put them down, gravity will take over and the hair will just fall right out of the clip. So here we go. We have ourselves set up for success here with what we call our vertical breakdown, and this is where the hair truly and naturally lives within the head shape. We have a total of 8 bevels. And we'll be working with these 8 bevels, and this will pretty much be our sectioning for the day. As we move along, I will be moving these clips so I can get a clearer picture and more control on the haircut itself. So, Andrea, if you don't mind, can you pop up that overview headshot of what the sectioning looks like on top of the head? Beautiful. So you'll see in the front here, the first 2 sections, this is actually where our fringe naturally lies. It does not go all the way to the highest point of the head. Thank you for that, Andrea. It does not go all the way to the highest point of the head. So that's super important because if you are going to create a fringe, have you ever, I have, created a fringe and then sometimes you get a little bit of a hard line over this hair, just simply because we took a little bit too much from here. And that's a little hot tip for you. All right, so let's get to it. When you think long layers, what do you think? Like, what exactly is it whenever a guest comes in and they're like, I really want to start to do some layering, but what is a long layer, right? I kind of often wonder that too. Like, what is a long layer? Because there's layering, there's so many different ways to layer. So for me, long layers are simply just uber soft, right? When I hear the word long, I do think of in relation to the length. However, in order to get a nice, super soft silhouette, I need to make sure that my layering and the end result gives me a nice, soft, smooth graduation. And so for me, that is elevation, right? So everybody in the chat box, real quick, write in elevation. Awesome. And elevation is just simple. Think of an elevator, right? An elevator goes up and down. Let me get my white comb here. An elevator goes up and down, right? And so whenever we have this hair in its natural falling position, I'm simply just going to be elevating it up and down. All right. Since we're working on dry hair, I'm going to be utilizing my Samvia dry cutting shears, 7-inch. And this is what's really going to help me power through it. So I'm going to go ahead and comb this hair where my guest is going to wear it, which is around their eye. And I really need to create a, you guessed it, guideline. What am I looking for here? I'm going to go ahead and take my body over here. All right. So right around the eye, I'm not going to force it. I'm just kind of encouraging it to come around. And I really need this small little triangle first. You guys see that? I just took a small triangle. And for this hair that lives up here, I'm just going to drape it around one clip so it stays out of my way. So right around the eye we go. And where do we want to start this face framing, right? Because face framing is one of those hot topics that you've probably been talking with your guests a lot about lately. And so for our guest here, I really just want to start it somewhere about 1 inch underneath the chin. So I'm just going to simply pinch, no tension, just pinch. And now I'm just going to give myself a little bit of an outcut so it's nice and soft. There we go. Perfect. So now when my guest wears their hair, it's going to truly sit and tuck right underneath that chin area. All right, so no elevation has occurred yet, but this is where it kicks in. So I'm going to elevate the hair up and up and up. So here we go. Combing, combing, combing. I could stop here, but I kind of want to take it a little bit further, right? I really want to create a silhouette that's going to provide a nice, soft end finish that I like to say the hair is simply dances on top of the perimeter. So here we go. My body has now come to the opposite side, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm wrapping this hair and combing it on the way down. And my finger position is going to be horizontal. In the chat box for me, what does horizontal lines do? Yes, they make our eye go side to side, but what does it build? So now I'm going to pull straight to my chest. Straight to my chest with my horizontal finger position that builds weight. That's right. Yeah, for those that got it. And then now I'm just going to simply, I want to leave a little bit more hair towards the back. So all I have to do with my fingers is shift my finger angle to where now I have volume towards the back. And I do have a diagram on that one. Andrea, if you don't mind popping that up for me. We're going to pull straight to our chest. Let's go to the one with the, yeah, there we go. And you can see here in the front of the face, we have the angle that goes from short around the face to long towards the top of the head. Thank you for that. All right, so here we go. Towards my chest, my finger angle is now going to shift volume towards the back. And now all I have to do is just chip away at a little bit of that layering. It's not going to be too much. I'm going to bring everything this direction. So I'm just going to work smarter and leave that hair there. Bring my body back over and take my next subsection. Now we're going to elevate, 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 swing our body back over. So let's talk about over direction and how we can get it, right? Or how we might accidentally get it when we don't want to get it. So over direction just simply means weight, where we leave weight and length in the opposite direction of where we're pulling the hair. And so if we naturally pull to the center of our being, I want to make sure that my chest is in front of every single section that I'm cutting. Right? You can even do this little trick. If you just simply put out your arms and then just bring them straight into your body, most likely you're going to end up around your chest area. So we want to make sure that wherever we're cutting, our chest is right in front of it so we don't get any unwanted weight and length in the opposite direction. So this is my last section in this bevel. And so all I'm going to do is just simply, again, elevate, elevate, elevate. And then making sure that all the grains are moving in the same direction. Now I'm going to hook my comb from underneath so gravity takes over and I don't have to worry about it falling. Pulling straight to my chest. My guide is right here. And now I'm going to pull, finger angle, guide, and just simply cut. So I'm really wrapping and laying until it lays on top of the head, pulling straight to my chest. All right, that's perfect. Let's check it out, see what we got. Let me go ahead and move this clip here. So now you can see that we've really started to create that nice, soft framing around the face. Let me elevate. There we go. All right. So we have that nice, soft, beautiful angle. And so for my principle-based friends, if you are not, that's a-okay, but we call this swelling graduation. And when you think of the word swelling, it's always going to be a curved line that swells out. And you can see right here in the silhouette here how it does just that. It's a nice curved line that simply swells out a little bit, but really gives us that nice soft end result. All right, let's get it going. I'm going to move to my next bevel, right? And this next bevel is still right around right in front of the head. We have not moved to the back of the head just yet. So I'm going to be working at this section here, or excuse me, this bevel here. And notice these combs, all cutting clips, or I should say clips in general, have a curvature to them. One side is curved and one side pushes the hair. So what I'm doing here is right now this hair is being pushed towards the section that I'm going to work in. So I'm just going to simply take this clip out, reverse it, and now it's going to be pushed out of my way. So it gives me a more controlled and cleaner work area. All right, so for sectioning purposes, I am going to stay on this side, but we're just going to go ahead and start taking a nice horizontal line straight across. I am going to go ahead and take my previous bevel that I had as well, because that now becomes my guide for this bevel right here. All right, check it out. So we're lifting, 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 and now my comb comes underneath and I hook it. Now our body is on the other side and I'm just going to continue on with what I have created. You can see here, there is my guide, and I'm just going to connect it, continuing on with my finger angle. It's a little too much in my hand, so I'm just going to get rid of some. So continuing on with my finger angle towards volume towards the back, so leaving more hair towards the back. Now I'm going to shift and just get rid of that hair. You can see with these shears, it really does help with powering through and getting rid of that hair without it bending or anything like that. Leaving it, because I'm still taking it, let's take another horizontal subsection and elevate up and over. So why would I want to take a horizontal subsection around the face? Let me know in the comments. If a horizontal subsection makes our eye go side to side and builds weight, why would I want to use that around the face? Here's my guide, and take it on out. Yeah, I'm using this horizontal subsection around the face because we already know naturally, there we go, this hairline goes up, right? So we're losing a lot of density in this hairline. So by utilizing a horizontal finger positioning in horizontal lines, I'm going to be able to preserve and build weight around where we start to lose that density in the hairline as well. All right, here we go, up and over. So you're gonna start to see I have less and less hair to cut because of our elevation. So up and over, get rid of hair that does not want to fit. Excuse me. Go ahead and keep on combing. I'm just gonna take it all. And now finger switch and snip. So as I am cutting a blunt line too. So no texture just yet because I really want to show you how soft this graduation can be. It gives us a nice elevation from short to long. And we said that it already gives us a beautiful curved line that swells out. So as we move down, you can see all that length is pretty much preserved. And so now I have a beautiful silhouette that is nice and soft and curves around. Let me show you what that looks like on the side. So again, it has that nice kind of soft silhouette that starts to really dance just on that hair, or excuse me, on that perimeter for us. So when I think long layers, I think super soft layering, and that's exactly what this graduation is going to give us. All right, let's keep it moving. No texture just yet. I just want to keep on rolling. So as we keep on moving around the head, I'm going to get this hair out of my way. And I took a small section from the side here as my guide. So this will now become my guide for this back bevel right behind the ear. So we talked about it earlier, but now we notice that this guide or this hairline starts to go down. So we're having more density in the back. So if I want to lean something out, what kind of lines help lean out a shape? Yeah, vertical lines. Vertical lines help the eye go up and down, and it'll help lean out weight. So that's exactly what I'm going to do back here. Same elevation, but I'm just going to switch my finger position to vertical. This is the holy area, right? So I can absolutely, if I want to, and it makes me feel comfortable, leave a little bit of a detached part there. I'm not going to cut that because I don't want to run the risk of creating a hole in our perimeter. I did subsection this bevel into two, and we're going to work with that for the time being. All right, back to it. My body is now right behind my section. Oh, that way for me. Thank you. All right. My guide is right there. Let's pull it up real quick. Actually, we'll lower her. All right, here we go. Detached from the perimeter. Perfect. Subsection out of the bevel. Beautiful. Now I'm going to come up and over. My finger position changes to vertical. So now I'm going to lean it on out, and I'm just going to continue to wrap until I lay on top of the head. So you see, there's my guide. That's a beautiful shot for you that comes right through. I want to make sure that I will always see my guide. And then with my shears, just come right in and cut it away. I always want to make sure that I see my guide, because if I don't, then that's where we get lost. So if you do not see your guide, just simply take a step back, take a smaller section or subsection until you can read your guide, and always, always, always trust your guide. All right, I'm wrapping and laying. My finger position is vertical, and my finger angle is just even. So I'm just going up and down. I'm not leaving any extra weight towards the bottom or the top. One more in this piece, and you will find, since the hairline is going down further, that I'm not going to have as much hair come into my section as we work our way down. Just a little bit there. And there we go. So I'm going to leave the rest in the perimeter because I can, just to make sure that I have enough density in that perimeter. But I really do want to show you this nice soft curved line in this frontal view here. All right, so here we go. When elevated, and so we went all the way wrapped up and over, but whenever we let it down, you're really going to see, I'm going to get this for you, this nice curved line. And we know as stylists, curved lines are always going to be softer than hard lines. So I have not done any texturizing to this just yet. So we're just going to keep on moving on. Now, as I move around, I'm going to utilize another guideline from the very back of that section. From the very back of that section. I'm going to just go ahead and get this out of my way because, again, Janet Jackson, control. I want to make sure that I'm controlling that hair. All right. I did 2 subsections in this section, so I'm going, or in this bevel, so now I'm going to take 2 subsections in this bevel to keep it consistent and only take what my fingers can control. All right, combing up, combing up. You can see there's no over direction, right? When over direction, we talk about over direction, we talk side to side. Excuse me, let me do that again, side to side. So there's no over direction. I'm just simply combing up, combing up, combing up until I wrap and lay on top of the head. Let's get you back to the good view of the angle. And here we are, making sure I can read my section, excuse me, my guide through my section. And let's get rid of the hair. Now I'm just going to take my second subsection and knock this off, and we'll just continue to work on down. Now, would you agree that yes or no in the comments that we are going all to 1 cutting line per bevel? We don't have really any moving guide or anything like that. Subsection? Yeah, absolutely. We do not have a moving guide at all. So I can absolutely, when I get done with this subsection, I like to do a little, does anybody, if you have before in the comments, let me know. Compressed hair cutting, right? Compressed hair cutting. It's one of those things that I love to do because it's really very simple, especially when you're going to the same cutting line, to really make a nice soft silhouette and to get the job done. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I give a great haircut, but I also need to make sure that I'm moving in a timely manner, because when we set ourselves up for success, we can move quicker and not get lost as much. So let's get it going. Now I've done this whole side here. So now I'm simply, I like it, I see it. I do need to take a subsection for guide and reference right from the top on the other side. So I'm going to do that. But other than that, I'm done with this whole side. So I'm just going to clip it to control it, to keep it out of my way. I don't want to have it interrupt what I've already created, excuse me, what I'm cutting now, and then get confused by it, right? Because this hair lives over here. And I know that this hair lives over here. So I'm going to address this completely separate from here. All right. Again, small section right up front. Comb this out of my way. Wrap it around. And now I have enough for my guide. And I'm just going to encourage it around the eye here. Split that open. Where is it at? Oh, I'm on the opposite side. All right. I really want to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to put in one more clip to make sure the visual is there for you. And I'm not moving anything out of natural fall. I'm just moving it to where you guys can see against this black back. All right, so there's in, and with my shear, I'm actually going to create a little easier of a hold for me. So I've just adjusted my wrist so now it can just go straight down rather than up and lifting my elbow, right? All right, here we go. So I'm just going to chip away right there. That looks pretty good. I'll just take a little bit more, but I know that some of it's going to come off with my graduation as well. All right, perfect. So let's talk compressed hair cutting. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Great question from Candace Brady asking, do you check the haircut the same way that you cut it?
I do, absolutely, yes. So whenever I'm checking the haircut, I always go back in and with the same finger position that I did beforehand and check it that way. I don't want to check it vertically because I know that I am creating a soft curved line. And if I'm wanting to, and I say vertically up front, if I'm wanting to create, build weight around the face, then I don't want to go in and lean it out too much with a vertical section. Does that help answer your question? All right. Great questions. Keep them coming if you have them. So I'm done with this one now. So I'm just going to, again, get it out of my way. So I don't run into possibly, do I need this? Does it live here? What am I doing with this, right? I'm going to shift this clip so it pushes the hair out of my way again. And now I have all of this. And I know that I'm simply working on this section and this section alone right now. All right, so here we go. Compressed hair cutting. Have you ever been tasked with cutting a couple pieces of paper, maybe 5, 10 pieces of paper? Think of it kind of in arts and crafts school back in the day, you know what I mean? And then you have to cut a nice straight line up the center of it. Typically, we wouldn't take it one page by one. We can, absolutely. You're going to get a nice, crisp, solid line. But sometimes we just want to kind of get it done, right? And so it's the same line that we're cutting, but when we put more than one piece of paper together, it's going to compress it, and we kind of get already a little bit of a soft edge on it. And so it's not going to be as crisp, but it's going to have that same silhouette, and you're going to have a little extra diffusion on those ends to provide a little softness within that silhouette. So I have my guide right here. I'm going to take this whole section. Now, here's what I'm going to say. If you are not comfortable with compressed hair cutting, please stick with the subsections that we did on the side of this side and in the back of the head here. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to show you another way. So my guide comes into my section here, and now I'm just going to elevate, elevate, elevate. And you've guessed it, my body is coming to the opposite side. There we go. My body is now on the opposite side, and I'm just going to make sure that all these grains of the hair are moving in the same direction. Hook it underneath. Again, gravity will take over. And now I'm just going to simply pull straight to my body. Let's see if I can give you a better angle of this. I'm just going to pull straight to my body. And now I want volume towards the back of the head, or more, leaving more hair towards the back of the head. So now all I have to do is shift my fingertips out towards the ear. So here we go. I'll show you one more time. Shifting my fingertips, pull straight to your chest, elevations there. Find your guide. Bam, there's my guide. And now I'm going to leave more hair towards the back. So all I have to do is shift my fingers out towards the ears to create a nice, beautiful 45-degree angle. And now I'm going to just cut that hair. So whenever it falls back down, I still get the same silhouette, but rather than subdividing it into 2 or 3 sections, I've now created that silhouette within one foul swoop. Bam! All right, here we go. Same thing on this side. If you don't feel comfortable taking this whole section, absolutely subsection it out. You can even just do half and half if you wanted to. Actually, I'm going to do that because this is a pretty large section. But I'm still compressing a lot of hair here. So I'm going to pick this one back up and use this as my guide and do the same thing over here. Just to elevate it and give you a different view of it as well, I'm going to switch my shear. I've been using the 7-inch dry cutting shear, but to get a little extra texture on it, let's swap it up. And now I'm using my reversible blending shear from Samvia. I love these. Oh my gosh. If you have them, let me know how much you love them in the chat box. They are spectacular. All right, up and over. Here we go. Elevate, wrapping, finger angle, leaving more length and volume towards the back, and just getting rid of this hair. And so for these, I'm going to chomp, move my shear, chomp, move my shear. So back and forth I go to create a little bit more diffusion on those ends until I get a nice cutting line. So now you can see it's a little bit softer of an edge. Keep that there. Pick up the rest of my section. And now you're going to see how quickly this haircut can really be done as we come close to the end. Excuse my shoulder. Picking up all of this hair. And getting rid of it. Bam. Now we have our nice, soft, curved line that also builds weight. See how it goes from short to long? Marvelous. And now moving into, what's the next thing that we have to do as we move towards the back? We need a what? Yeah, absolutely. We need a guide. So I'm just going to take a little skimmy from the front and shift this hair out of my way. I don't want it. I want control over it. So now in the previous bevel, I split this in two. So to keep on with our compression hair cutting, now what you're going to notice back here though is we are going to create a little over direction from each side, right? So if this is my section, it's a pretty big one. So as I'm lifting and combing the hair up, I'm going to the same, excuse me, I need you to stay on, thank you. Thank you so much. But I'm going to be moving it to the same cutting line, but you can see now I'm actually pinching it towards the center. So I am creating a little over direction in this bevel, but that's okay because think of it like this. It is going to give us, in our end result, peaks and valleys, right? So some peaks and valleys in that silhouette. It's going to be ever so soft, but those peaks and valleys are texture, right? And we always end up going back in and creating texture anyhow. All right, there we go. I have it. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. Bam, got it. Now moving on to our next bevel, taking another small section from that one. I like this. Get it out of my way. I don't want to see it. I need control. I need to be in control of the haircut at all times. Now I can just go ahead and pick up what my hands can handle. Since this is a little longer, I'm still going to compress, not subsectioning it or subdividing this bevel out. Let's go right here. And now I'm just going to go straight up, wrapping and laying on top of the head. Find my guide. There it is. Notice how I just move this hair around my finger as I'm working and get rid of that hair. Now I can pick up just a little bit more to make sure that it's a nice seamless end result. Elevate, elevate, up and down, combing, combing, combing. These are all the things that I say in my head while I cut hair. You can ask my clients. I don't really talk too much during a haircut because I'm concentrating on all the things that I need to do within this haircut to make sure that it is spot on. All right, so now I'm just going to take out all of these clips and really comb everything back down. into its natural fall. And I haven't done anything with the length yet, but that's okay. We can always trim up the length. However, if they're really enjoying that length where it is. Where's that hair live? It lives over here. All right. So we have this nice, beautiful silhouette with the nice soft layers that I said, it just simply dances on top, right? So now we can introduce our guests to graduation and having layers just to give it a little bit more subtlety. And look at this ponytail right here, right? We take out a little bit of that weight at the bottom. There we go. We take a little bit of that weight out at the bottom so this silhouette even, or excuse me, this ponytail even lays a little bit more leaner. And now they also have a little bit of finesse around the face. Excuse me, lighting. They have a little bit of finesse around the face to really play with their ponytail. I could curl these. I could have a little fun with it. And I could even do a higher ponytail for my friends that like a good little top knot. Trying to get this glare out of there for you guys. It's not happening, but hopefully you can kind of see it. But look at how cute that is too. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. All right, so what questions do we have, if any? Could I go back through and texture this? Absolutely. But it's really setting nice and soft for me. So I'm just gonna leave it as is and really keep the nice structure within the haircut that we created. Get out of there. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like you've done such a great job of explaining everything thoroughly that we haven't really had many questions.
Fantastic. Well, that's awesome. This was a great little opportunity and it was so much fun. I really hope that you all take what you have gotten out of this today and implement it in something that you create this week. Even if it's just with the pieces around the face, just to kind of introduce a little bit of face framing. How cool would that be? I'm just going to do a little bit of spritzing with some Frizz Dismiss anti-static oil mist to give myself a little bit of structure for these hairs that keep on wanting to fall down. Gorgeous. All righty, y'all. Thank you so much.
Beautiful job. And I think the approach was really cool to see, because what a unique and fresh way to approach that long layering type of pattern, instead of, just taking pie-shaped sections and elevating it vertical and then tilting our fingers, using that over direction across the top of the head. It's brilliant. And the proof is right there on the screen. It creates such a soft and really elegant shape to it.
Thank you very much. I hope if you guys create this at home, tag me on your Instagram. I would love to see what you create. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you all so much more.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.